Hello, everyone. Raymond Moore, Kilted Prepper. How's everybody doing? You're watching Coffee with Ray. So, yesterday, I totally overslept. And I think what it was Saturday night, Sunday morning. I actually stayed up probably close to 24 hours because I had insomnia from the medicine I'm taking. I didn't realize that my medicine causes insomnia. So I took my medicine at the wrong time. That is for the whole bronchial thing that I have going on and everything, and caused me to stay up so late. So then, I guess what it was yesterday was just catching up on my sleep and everything. Slept till freaking 11 in the morning, but so I apologize for missing the show. Cynthia didn't wake me up, and so she just let me sleep and everything. Like, hey, Chantel, how you doing? So, but yeah, yesterday I missed the show because I completely overslept, and Cynthia figured that I needed it, and so that's what happened there. But, how's everybody else doing out there today? So, hey, Holly, hey, Kim, how you guys doing? Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate you guys showing up every day. It means a lot to me. So, excuse me. Yeah. So today, what I want to talk about is, and this is rather interesting, and this is something I've been kind of pointing at for a while, folks, and that's China's social and economic situation. They're getting ready to implode, and they're going to do one of two things: either their economy is going to implode, or they're going to stimulate their economy by going to war. One of those two. And I don't know what the turnout is going to be. But here's the thing is, because their economy and their social situation is going to implode, it's going to be very devastating to us here in the US unless we are prepared. And what a lot of people don't realize, and what's happened is China has done a really great job at hiding all this, and it's really starting to come to light. I'm starting to see more news pieces more about it. I mean, I've been writing about it now, gosh, what, 8, 9 months now. I've been kind of warning folks about what's going on over there in China, and now people are just starting to understand and everything. But probably the biggest issue that China has right now is a demographic issue. They have not been producing enough babies. And this comes from that one child policy that they put into effect that prevented people from basically having babies. Each family could only have one baby. And so because of that, what one of the drawbacks was that they didn't want, I mean, in China, the families always want males. Males always carry on the name. Males take care of the family, yada yada yada. And so the birth rate of males during the one child policy era was very high, where a lot of times if they found out that they were going to have a female baby, what they did is they would have an abortion. And so the abortion rate in China during that time was also very high. And so what they have done is basically screwed the pooch in several different areas. One, they don't have a population now of workers to basically carry the rest of the nation. And they have the largest elderly population in the world right now. They also have the smallest working population in the world, meaning people under 40 years old. And then also, since 2017, the numbers have come out that their population or their birth rate is sitting around 70%, meaning that they are not replacing, the kids, or their generations are not growing. and everything. And again, this goes back to that one child policy and the several issues that came out of it. One child, so less workers, but two, because everybody wanted males and not females, they're seeing their birth rate greatly decline right now. And so China is in some serious problems due to some very bad decisions they made way back when. And you hear about, oh, population control, population. Well, this is a result of population control. China is basically screwed the pooch and they are in serious trouble. And because of that, their economy is now basically going under. Now, why we haven't heard a lot about this and everything is because if you look back over the last 3, 4, 5 years, a lot of stuff has been going on. I mean, we've been having wars, we've been having jabs, we've been having illnesses, we've been having this, we've been having that. There's been a lot of noise out there in the arena that has really caused us to look all over the place, but looking at China. And then also, again, China's done a really good job of basically, hiding a lot of this truth from us. And in fact, it was rather interesting. One of their census bureau, and I forget what it's called, the Chinese scientific, you know, whatever they are to, whatever their census bureau basically is. But we know that the under 40 generation or the under 40 populace was rather on the small side. They don't have enough people to basically take care of the people over 40. So, but what happened is that they miscounted their people by 100 million people. So the under 40 crowd, which they miscounted by over 100 million, is now less than what they thought. And so that is also severely impacting the situation in China. Now, how does this impact the economy? How economies roll is that through consumerism. I mean, like it or not, when you buy something, that basically creates jobs and so forth. But the problem is because there aren't enough people in China now under 40 that are consuming, their economy is slowing down quite a bit. For example, their housing arena is just doing massively dismal. And the housing sector in any economy is a massive driving force. If one really looks at everything that goes into buying a home, it creates a lot of jobs. It's not only just building the house, but everything that goes into that house, and then all the advertising and all the marketing and the real estate and this, that, and everything. Housing is a massive economy builder. Well, what's happening in China right now is because there aren't enough people in China that are under 40 buying homes, the housing market is basically imploding. Now, a second arena, and then again, this is a biggie, is their automotive industry. And so, again, the automotive industry is a very big economic driving factor. And because, again, people aren't buying homes, they're also not buying cars. And so, both of these arenas hire and if you want to call the tentacles or the fingers of these two industries are far reaching. I mean, if you really look at everything that the housing market and the automotive market do, you'll be amazed at how much that drives the economies of the different countries and everything. America is also included in that. When our housing market is down and new homes are not being built and so forth and so on, it's bad. When we are not producing vehicles and so forth and so on, it's bad because these two industries have fingers reaching out everywhere in the economy. So these two massive economy drivers are going belly up and they're literally imploding in China. So it means that their economy is slowing down massively. And people have, in fact, a lot of the news people are basically saying they are already in a Great Depression. And one of the things on how you either don't do something about it or basically you do something and try to pull yourself out of the Great Depression. And the only way to do that is spend lots of money. And so one way that China could get out of that Great Depression is having a massive building, program. As something that oh gosh, Roosevelt did during or after World War II. Massive building program. We need to build roads. We need to build highways and everything. So a lot of the highway systems that we have today in the U.S. are from the Roosevelt era and that great push to really move things. That was one of the things that got us out of the Great Depression. Another thing was World War II. And so wars and spending huge amounts of money on infrastructure are the two things that help get you out of the depression. And so with China going on right now, will they, spend a lot of money on infrastructure? But the negative is when you have the infrastructure, you need people to build it, but also to use it. And because their population is on a massive decline and their elderly is on the largest in the world, literally, then how many people are going to truly use the infrastructure? So the next thing is, are they going to go to war then? And again, you're kind of looking at the same situation, because they have a rather large or rather small under 40 population. Do they even have enough people in the military to even, do something militaristically? So, it is a very serious situation, what's going on in China. And the reason I talk about all of this, because I've been warning for some time now, the day is coming where basically cheap Chinese stuff is going to disappear. I mean, it's going to just basically stop. And so what can we do about it? And what I'm been strongly pushing people is that you guys got to start creating a personal supply chain. Basically stop depending on Walmart, stop depending on Target if you still shop at Target, stop depending on Costco and all these other things. A lot of these cheap Chinese stuff, a lot of this other stuff, stop depending on it, or start stocking up and start getting your tangible assets being, things for your kitchen. I'm a big food person, and so I'm always pushing tools and stuff for your kitchen. I believe in having a good dehydrator. That's the Excalibur. I think it's the best in the world. I wrote a book about, a recipe book, and I'm really promoting the Excalibur. Other things is, having a good grain mill. And again, I'm a big fan of the Mill Harvest, which is a stone grinder. And the great thing about that is it only pulls about 460 watts, which means I can also run it off of my solar generator. I'm a big proponent of having the food saver. I'm a big proponent of having, good knives, good tools in the kitchen so that you can prepare your food. And so these are things that you need to start thinking about now, start getting these things now, so that when this time comes, and I truly believe that one day we're going to wake up and the ships are just not going to be coming from China anymore, folks. Because one, they don't have the people to make the products. Not only is their own population not buying consumer goods basically anymore because they've bought everything they need. When a family of two or a family of three or something has everything they need, they stop buying all the stuff. I mean, look at us too. Same thing with our own families. When we have what we need, we stop buying. We don't do it. So that consumerism, that consumption stops. Well, China has hit the wall on the consumption market. So their population is barely biting into the consumer arena. And so the only place they have left is to sell it to, other countries, export. So, us being the US is one of their largest, you know, economies to send business to. But the other problem is because they don't have the workforce of people under 40. Stuff is getting more and more expensive to build. Cheap Chinese stuff is not cheap Chinese stuff anymore because companies are realizing the supply and demand of workers in China. It's costing more now to do business in China because they just don't have the workers to do it. So they have the ability to even charge higher prices, which is basically taking them out of the global workforce arena as a means to have, inexpensive products made. And so more and more companies are now pulling out of China and finding other places like Vietnam, South Korea, uh, even I think I hear Thailand, India, and so forth. More of these countries are picking up the business that China used to do, and so we're coming to a point where we may not see the cheap Chinese stuff coming over from China anymore. And what we need to understand is that, for example, at Walmart, do you realize about 96% of the products in Walmart is made from China? Now imagine if those ships stopped all of a sudden sending stuff and everything. Would the shelves in Walmart get filled? No, they wouldn't. So I've written several articles on how the Waltons, the family, have been selling Walmart stock like crazy because I think they see the writing on the wall that the age of the cheap Chinese stuff is slowly going away. And I really think what's going to happen is with everything that's going on, we're going to see it just hit boom and cut off. And now you throw BRICS into that, and then you also throw in the Biden administration, who's been very aggressive against and very protectionist with America, doing high tariffs and stop selling this and stop selling that. The Biden administration has been pissing China off, quite frankly. And I can understand why and everything like that. I think it's a good idea, but I think his means of doing it has been rather foolish. So he's been shooting himself or shooting us in the foot, basically, when it comes to China and everything. Instead of doing things slowly and so forth, he has just been, cutting the legs out from right underneath them. So will China, I mean, think about it. Does China want to do business with friends, or would you rather do business with someone who basically has you over a barrel? Which the US, kind of with their trade policies and everything in the Biden administration, has created some pretty aggressive trade policies against China. And so in walks BRICS, and BRICS now has the people, BRICS now has the money, BRICS now has the oil and everything. So they have some leverage over the US, and China is part of the BRICS alliance. And so do you think China sooner or later is going to wake up, smell the coffee, and say, you know what? Screw you, US. I'm sick of doing business with you. You guys are a bunch of jerks, and I hate your policies. And I'm going to then go over to BRICS nations who are my buddies. We've all signed alliances together. We got this great trade thing going on and all this other positive stuff. Sooner or later, that's going to happen, folks. And when it does, we are going to see cheap Chinese stuff walk out the door, and it's not going to be there anymore. And so, what is going to be the solution? And this is why I'm really telling folks, create a personal supply chain now. Get it in place now. Change your buying habits now and everything. And so what I've done, actually, if you go into the description, I just wrote an article with the same title. Chinese social economic implosion will be devastating, and we in the US will suffer greatly. That's the name of the title of the article. It's the name of this video. Check out my article. I'm giving you a whole slew of things that you can start doing now. But one of the primary things that guys want to start doing is start looking at what are you going to do about your consumer goods. And I've been preaching about this for a while too. Cynthia and I, we don't barely shop at Walmart anymore. We get our prescriptions at Walmart, but do we buy any basically consumer goods at Walmart anymore? No, we don't. And we're saving money, folks. I've been amazed. I'm actually running numbers on the laundry soap that we've been using. We have been using the same laundry soap now since May. And so where prior to that, we've been spending money like, gosh, what is it? Tide is what? $23, $25 for a big bottle and everything. I would have gone through 3 of those already, as well as the softener and the OxyClean and all that other junk. We've been using the same 3 bottles of cleaning detergent and softener, and it's been saving us tons of money. Money saved is money earned. And so these are things of what we've been doing. And now once money saved, we're then able to take that money and put it in place with other areas of our preps and so forth and so on. And so we need to start thinking about this, creating a new supply chain for ourselves. We need to be starting gardens. Again, we're late in the garden season, but believe it or not, you can still plant stuff. You can still plant radishes. You can plant a lot of the root vegetables and everything. You can plant broccoli. You can still get green beans if you're still in the zone B or less. So, oops, phone call. Sorry about that. But you can still do a lot of things now and get some garden, get some produce going and everything. So there's a lot of things that you can do. But check out my article. I'm giving you a lot of tips and tricks and everything of what you can do to create your supply chain. I really encourage you to do that. But the world is waking up to what's going on in China, and people, I think, are starting to freak out. So, we need to really start working hard at securing our supply chains now and not be left like a chicken with our head cut off and when it does hit. So that's everything that I got to tell you here. I am doing a alternate income course on Saturday. I'll be doing a Zoom. And so I really want to encourage you guys to come join me on that. I will be putting out the Zoom link probably today. If you're on my email list, I'll be sending out emails on that. I'll start posting it in my Telegram. I'll post it in my Facebook wall and other places. I'll post it here in YouTube and everything. So anywhere I got social media, I'm going to be posting that. So join me. Seating is limited because Zoom only allows me so many people in the class. So, first come, first serve. There's no reservations or anything like that. So first come, first serve. Join us, and then make sure you bring a pen and paper, and make sure that you're able to join us. And it's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of information I'm going to be throwing at you. You're probably going to be brain dead by the time that we're done with that class. So, but that's everything, folks. Raymond Moore, Kilter Prepper. We'll see you. Goodbye. God bless. And kilt on. Coffee with Ray.